Hi friends, my name is April and welcome to my channel. For this video I'm going to be talking about my labor and delivery. I do have a birth vlog posted already, but I was so nervous and I was all over the place, and so I decided that it would be a good idea to also record a labor and delivery story. You guys will know what happened. So it was February 7th, 2018. I was 38 weeks pregnant exactly. My boyfriend Scott and I decided to go get something to eat. When we left that place, it was around 2 o'clock. As we were walking out, I felt like moisture, you know, and when we got outside, I told him, like, babe, I think maybe my water broke. Either that or I went to the restroom and I had no idea. Like, that's how bad my lack of control has gotten. So I had him like touch my butt so he could see that I was wet, you know. So the first thing I do is call my sister. She tells me to go straight to the hospital and to call my doctor, you know. So we're about 3 to 5 minutes away from Scott's mom's house. So we go over there, and on our way there I call my doctor's office and they put me on hold. So we get to my mother-in-law's house. When we get there, I go to the restroom and it turns out that I'm actually bleeding, like a heavy period blood bleeding. The doctor finally gets, or the doctor's office finally gets on the phone with me, and I tell him, you know, I thought my water broke, but actually I am bleeding everywhere. Like everywhere, guys. I'm not even playing. Like, it was dripping on the floor, everything. So they told me, oh, just go straight to the hospital. Scott's mom, my mother-in-law, Karen, she gives me a pair of sweatpants to wear. The sweatpants are like a light gray. So we get to the hospital. As we're walking up to the hospital, I feel something like kind of drop out of me. So we get to the second floor. And like I said, I'm in light gray pants and they're having me fill out paperwork. Through my pants, you could see the blood that was there. And I was like trying to like cover it from the other people that were in the waiting room because I didn't want to like disgust anybody or anything. So you could see the blood. So they told me, you know, please just come back here. Forget about the paperwork. Just put on a gown and get into bed because we need to start monitoring the baby. So that's what I do. I put on the gown. As I'm in the restroom putting on the gown, I take off my pants and boom, blood clot falls out. I didn't know, like I thought maybe it was my mucus plug, but they said it was the blood clot. So they had me get in bed. They put me on the monitor and they monitor baby girl, Arielle's her name. They start monitoring her heartbeat and seeing if I'm having any contractions. Her heartbeat's great. She's under no distress or anything, like she's doing good. So the doctor that was on call comes to the room and says, okay, basically my doctor was working a shift for her at another hospital and she wouldn't be off from then. She wouldn't be off for like another 3 hours. By that time it was already 4 o'clock. So I said, okay. So they said, we're just gonna monitor you. I'm gonna call Bacala, see what she wants to do. So as we're waiting there, there's this nurse, our first nurse, and she was like, oh, you're gonna have a C-section. As soon as the doctor leaves, you're gonna have a C-section, blah, 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 blah. And she kind of scared me, and my heart beat went faster, and my blood pressure actually shot up really high. So the nurse came, or the doctor came back. She checked me. She said, yeah, you're having a lot of blood, but let's see, but it looks like it's old blood, so let's just keep you right here. If you get worse, we'll go ahead and proceed with whatever we have to do, but for right now we'll just monitor you, and then Bacala will be over here. Bacala is my doctor, and Dr. Bacala will be over here in 3 hours to see how you're doing or what's going on, to assess your situation. So I said, okay, that works. So they moved me to a labor and delivery room. From there, we wait. I'm still bleeding a little bit, but we wait and we wait. Her Arielle's heartbeat's doing great. I'm having little bit of contractions. So my doctor finally gets there around 8 o'clock, and she tells me, okay, April, we're gonna go ahead and give you an epidural, and we're gonna try for a vaginal birth. We're gonna give you the epidural because in case you have to have an emergency C-section, we're ready, we don't have to put you under, whatever. It's okay. So they give me the epidural. The epidural is probably, oh my gosh, I just started crying. He was putting the epidural into my back, and I felt it like hit a nerve, so I kept jumping, and he was like telling me to hold still, and my nurse, who was a different nurse, was like holding on to me, and I was like crying, and Scott's all in the corner just watching, poor guy. And so Bacala checks me after all that's done to see if I had progressed any. She goes, you know what, have we even done an ultrasound to see where the baby's at, because she couldn't feel the baby's head. So they go ahead and they do an ultrasound, and it turns out that Arielle went breech. Funny, because for about a month and a half she had already been head down. In my 37th week checkup, they said that they felt her head down, so she decided to go breech at the last minute. So they decided that they needed to do a C-section. So that was about 8 o'clock that happened. By 8:30 they had already started to wheel me to the back to get my C-section, and it was so crazy. I remember just kind of laying there because I was on like the labor and delivery bed, and they had to move me over to the operating bed, and where the guy had did the epidural, it was pretty high on my back. So when they moved me, they thought that the tape of the epidural, the tape that the tape that holds the tube in your spine, had come off. So they thought that they were gonna have to redo the whole epidural, but they didn't, thank goodness, because like that epidural experience was too intense to do it again. And so they started giving me more medicine, and they put me you know, on the table with my hands out or whatever. They let Scott in finally, and I was like freaking out. I was crying. I was like so loopy. There was a point where I felt some pain in my left side of my hip, and Scott saw it, and he was like, she's in pain. So they gave me more medicine, and they're like, this might make your nose itch, and they pulled her out so fast. And it was interesting because she was high up, I guess, so they were like pressing down on the top of my ribs to like pull her out. And they said that when she came, her hand, like when they cut me, her hand popped out, so they had to put her hand back in to get the rest of her body out. I don't really know. So they pulled her out. She started crying and stuff, which was amazing, but I was so out of it from the drugs and from like, I guess, the adrenaline and everything, that I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, what's happening? They weighed her, you know, she was the 5 pounds and 12 ounces. She was 18 inches long. Like, she was great. Scott, though, I felt so bad because he went over there to make sure that she was good and see her. And then I look over and I just see him like staring at me, and his eyes were all wide. It was kind of like a scary experience for me anyway, to be like up like that, and it was definitely not part of my birth plan. But you know, that's how life goes. You know, you plan things, but they never go the way that you want them to. I just feel so happy that we were able to have like a really healthy girl. She's like right here. She woke up on my like second attempt at filming this video. So I feel blessed, but it was like, it was traumatic at the same time. A traumatic experience. after that they had Scott and the baby leave so she could get her first bath, she could go see some other family members and stuff, and he went with her. And the longer part, I guess, was just of them sewing me back up. When I get nervous or dealing with some sort of pain or anything, I move my feet a lot, and I was moving my feet so much while they were doing the C-section that they actually like started placing their hand on my leg, I guess to let me know that everything was okay. It was just quite an experience, I guess. I don't know why I'm so emotional, but it was weird, I guess, too. And they asked me, you know, if I wanted to hold her while I was, you know, with my arms up side by side. I feel too nervous because I was so shaky and so just like wound up. I was like, I can't hold her. I want to, but I can't. I'm afraid I'm gonna drop her or something. So we did get some pictures of her with me though, so that was good, and with Scott, but it was nerve-wracking. After that, they, you know, took me back to the room, and I got to breastfeed right away, and that was good, and then my recovery started happening. But those day 1 and day 2, my postpartum. I have videos on that about my healing and how things were with her, but that's my labor and delivery story. I tell you, I do it all over again just to make sure I had a healthy baby. I want to show you guys. I want to show you guys her. She's sleeping though, but I want to show you. Say hi to the world. Say hi. Say hi, Arielle. Say hi. Hi. She's so tiny. And then her little socks for mittens. Because we don't have anything small enough. She's all in preemie. We don't have anything small enough for her mittens. Huh. Oh, babies. Yeah, you want to say hi to them again? Want to say hi? I think she's going in the bathroom. But yeah, so that's my story. That's our story. If you'd like to, please subscribe to me. Please give this video a thumbs up. And I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Okay, bye, Mama. Bye. Thanks for watching. Oh, please connect with me if you have any tips about healing after a C-section, because it was crazy and I'd appreciate some tips. Alright, my friends, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.